Within the fabric of our society, there exists a tapestry woven from the diverse threads of human experience. Among these, the unique perspectives and talents of individuals with autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, form an invaluable part of our shared narrative. Approximately 1 in 54 children in the U.S. have ASD. While concerns have been raised about what scholars call disability-nationalism and militarization of autistic individuals, it is imperative to uphold their dignity and freedom to carve their own paths towards personal fulfillment and success. What I'm about to describe to you in detail is the pinnacle of moral and ethical paradox, a moral inconsistency or a double standard, the holding of such grossly conflicting or contradictory beliefs and attitudes based on ridiculously ignorant biases. On one hand, we have a few victimhood attention-seeking TikTok account holders purporting to be LGBTQ, pro-Palestinian, anti-American, anti-Israeli communists who despise Israel for using autistic soldiers for what they consider genocide, but they give Hamas a pass for using people to include children as human shields, which is well documented. Every individual, regardless of their neurodiversity, deserves the fundamental rights of dignity, respect, and autonomy within society. Concerns over the potential exploitation or militarization of individuals with autism must not overshadow the imperative to empower and support them in choosing their own paths to personal fulfillment and contribution. Autistic individuals, like all members of society, possess a rich array of talents, perspectives, and capabilities that can enrich our communities and advance our collective progress. Some ASD soldiers express this, and many are currently serving in the US, UK, Israel, and Australia, and some have been for many years. Recognizing the unique strengths and perspectives that individuals with autism bring to the table, it is crucial to create an inclusive environment that fosters their personal growth and self-determination. Encouraging autonomy and providing appropriate support systems can enable them to pursue their aspirations and contribute meaningfully to various domains of society, be it academia, the workforce, the arts, or any other fields where their skills and talents thrive. In fact, research by Modern War Institute at West Point found peer-reviewed studies reporting that neurodivergent people outperform neurotypical people at recognizing patterns in a distracted environment, on intelligence tests using nonverbal testing methods, and at achieving states of hyperfocus. One study about ethics and neurodivergence found that autistic research subjects were more likely to behave ethically, even when it was at a personal cost, than neurotypical subjects. The significance of this for security, defense, and the intelligence communities is that if this research holds true, then the implications for people with security clearances are enormous. Articles by a researcher at RAND reported soldiers were concerned about applying for jobs with security clearances because they thought they would overstimulate during polygraph tests or interviews, and the investigator might misinterpret their stimming, their tics or their body movements, or that intense fidgeting or lack of eye contact or inability to form direct answers to their questions as a counterintelligence threat. There is no evidence that security clearance investigators or polygraph examiners have access to any research or training describing how a neurodivergent candidate would behave differently before, during, or after a polygraph exam. This is about freedom of choice, their agency and freedom to make informed choices for their own futures. Rather than limiting their potential based on narrow assumptions, society should embrace a perspective that values diverse contributions of all individuals. By championing the rights of autistic individuals to chart their own paths, we can foster a more inclusive and equitable society that benefits from the full spectrum of human diversity and talent. This week's topic in foreign intelligence organizations for me was Israel. In Israel, we learned soldiers with autism are given the chance to serve. They are not conscripted. Some were already serving if they qualified in secretarial roles, but many wanted more, and Mossad did research and found they worked well in intelligence. And many of the sources that I'll provide here are either left-leaning like Esquire, Rolling Stone, and The Atlantic, or they're peer-reviewed and they're all positive. One or two had genuine concerns I hope I'm sufficiently addressing. One ignorant comment said it's exactly what Hitler did with autistics, forced them to make munitions or some such. There's no evidence I found that Hitler exploited autistics, but it is well documented the German National Socialist Workers' Party of that era hauled off not only Jews, but also the LGBT, the communists, elderly, physically and mentally disabled, Freemasons and freethinkers, and in some cases even the unemployed and homeless, to concentration camps where many of them perished. In fact, autism was only beginning to be studied at that time, so there is no documented evidence for that person's comment. And while Hans Asperger may not have directly participated, he was complicit and supported the concept of euthanasia and race hygiene. There's exhaustive evidence that the German party carried out a policy of systematic euthanasia known as Action T4 program, which specifically targeted individuals with mental and physical disabilities, including children. The program aimed to eliminate those deemed unfit or a burden in the state, and it led to the mass murder of thousands of disabled individuals in the National Socialist occupied territories. Children with psychological and learning disabilities were indeed among those targeted in this appalling campaign. Moreover, when I replied to a few of the comments that I appreciated their concern and would comprehensively address it with scholarly research, a few of them blocked me, reported my post, but used the information in their own posts or stitched my posts for their victimhood-seeking posts. Israel empowers those who qualify, giving them hope and opportunity to fit in a society better, whereas it is well documented that Hamas uses children as human shields. As for the use of Hollywood symbology, Ben Affleck reported that he and director Gavin O'Connor on The Accountant went around and spent time with autistic people and even asked them what kind of movie they would like to see about someone with autism. Well, I found a few articles of mere opinion, all of those from people without autism that were a little negative. I found tons of other articles from large publications like LA Times, and they were all positive just on The Accountant, and it was a box office success, and it was top of the chart for a time in October 2016. Rain Man is heralded as a great film of our time, won 4 Oscars, numerous other awards, and an autism expert with autism said the benefits from the awareness it drew far outweigh any concerns. In conclusion, while I regret some, mostly dubious accounts, voiced concern, an outsider can't possibly know all about ASD or which movies, news articles, or scholarly material on these might trigger somebody, and we should all be able to talk about it. At the end of the day, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, and I stand in support of Israel in general on this issue, the military in general, and the diversity, inclusivity, and personal freedom of choice on this matter. And the scholars, the box office, fans, the media, the soldiers themselves have all spoken clearly. But what do you think? Should those with autism be able to serve? Is it okay for Hamas to use human shields, including children, because Israel made them do it? The comments are turned on for only those who follow me. My DMs are on. So if one has at least 3 scholarly articles that have conclusive evidence to refute what I've put in here, I will review that. Have a nice day.